Hi, in the last video, we looked at using the Julia programming language as a calculator, but sometimes you have to write long numbers over and over again that can be hard to remember. Fortunately, there's a way we can have Julia remember those long numbers and giving them a name. This is what's called variables, which is what we're going to look at in this video. In school, you already probably seen the use of letters to represent numbers. For instance, for equations, to calculate the area of a circle or the volume of a sphere or the distance an object would travel given a particular starting velocity, acceleration, and the time spent traveling. We saw variables in the previous video using pi and the Euler number, for instance. Try to write the letter theta. If we do that and hit enter, you can see that we get an undef variable error. The theta isn't defined, and that's natural because neither you nor Julia has actually assigned a value to this letter. But we can do that using the equals sign. If you write the theta again now, you can see that it has gotten the value 2.5. Get a common equation from school, calculating the area of a circle with a given radius r. If you use a calculator, you would typically calculate it in this way. You type in every number and get the results. We don't have to repeat these numbers over and over again to make the calculation. Instead, we can assign values to letters, such as r for the radius, and we can use pi directly. So we can write in Julia the equation almost exactly as we would in school. This will store the result of the calculation in another variable called a, so we can access it later. While we're at it, let's look at another one. The volume of a sphere requires a number of numbers and variables. It's a little bit awkward to write it out, this whole calculation every time. So we can store the radius and then we can write out the equation like this, which is easier to see what's going on. And the result is stored in V, so we can access the result later if we so choose. But in my last example, I'm going to show you what the benefits are of using variables, as we're involved multiple unknown variables here. We have x0, v0, the time t, and the acceleration a. If you write this out without using variables, it's kind of long and it's hard to see exactly what calculation is being done. If we assign numbers to variables instead, it will be much easier to see. So the variables can have names like x0, v0. They can be single letters or they can be longer words. When you write out the equation, it's much easier to see what's going on because it looks a lot more like what it would look like in your math book. And what's really neat here is that we can start changing individual variables and just bring up using the arrow keys. I'm just hitting upward arrow to get back the equation, and now I can change individual values easily and recalculate. Quick recap. What I wanted to show you here was that giving names to numbers makes it a lot easier to remember them and to perform calculations of equations.